4 points Descartes said psychological philosophy are what? What's the number one? Now, everybody studied Descartes. Everybody knows that. He didn't found calculus like Newton or something like that. But he was the founder of the modern, he was the dawn of the scientific age, right? First thing he said, let's accept what is absolutely true. Accept what is absolutely true. What is incontestably true. You can't read my writing, but I'll write it down anyway. This thing's so small, I can't write. I got a box of chocolates. So it looks like a text here. It said accept what's incontestably true. That means that there's no sense arguing about this is the floor, this is the wall, and this is the chair. Where Mr. Abel go? I don't want to go on without him here. Mr. Abel? There we go.
He went after chalk.
What?
He went after chalk for you.
I didn't hear you.
He went after chalk.
Okay. You know, this except what's incontestably, there's no sense arguing that this is a floor, and that this is a wall, and this is a chair, and all this kind of stuff. There's no sense arguing about that. And some things, when I tell you that the doctors say that working out on a hard floor causes irreversible knee injury. It causes irrevocable knee injury, or that headgear can cause serious brain damage. I mean, there's no sense arguing because you can't contest that, can you? But the World Medical Commission says that wearing headgear can cause irreversible brain damage, and if you wear that, you're subject to the worst kind of lawsuit. The medical commission at the world level says this, all the neurologists, then how can you argue that? So we have to accept that stuff as incontestably true, because you don't have the ability to contest it, right? The last section is orderly, comprehensive study. That means like if you're counting pennies, change on the table, you don't just count, you separate the pennies from quarters, you pull them up in your hand, so that you count everything and don't overlook anything. It's these two middle things we're having trouble with. These two middle things, so this one here says that you take everything you have and you break it down to a real smallest element. And that smallest element, you examine it to see whether you find truth in that element. If there's not truth in that element, then it is rejected. For example, somebody says the front kick is the strongest kick you have. You can break that down into elements and show that that is not true. Therefore, the whole statement can't stand. Now, this particular thing is called analysis. Then, after you break all this stuff down into little pieces, what you do, you start reassembling it and putting it back together. And as oftentimes you would get a pyramid like this, and you take the triangles out of the pyramid and you break them down and examine them. When you put them back together again, you find there's an affinity and you have a square. And the square does no longer fits here. So when you reassemble things, you reassemble these in a line. When you reassemble these, you reassemble these things again in the line of what you would call synthesis, right? And they're proved by synthesis. Now, when I say we have an orderly, we have a strong, consistent, internal standard, quantifiable, integrated, and related. I'm referring to these two elements. I'm referring to the study that you have, for example, that you have, that you come out basic technique. You do it into the waza. You do it into the kumite. Then I'm going to say kata. Then why can't you do the same technique in kumite? The same technique should be integrated and related so it shows itself completely across the spectrum of your ability. Is that not true? Hey, if you can kick a mat with your big toe, I'd like to see you kick a concrete block the same way. See, I know guys who tell me they can low defend. And if you guys think you can, I got a size 12 pair of boots out here, and I'm kicking as hard as I can to see your defend. And if you guys think you have a good mawashi, I'm sure there's a nice hard wooden telephone pole out here. We can go out and practice the mawashi, right? So we're not talking about some little thing. We're talking about carrying this thing through. And if you can't do it, you better know that you can't do it. So the elements that we're going to deal with, of course, are the understanding of this, that's a given. The understanding, and this thing here has to be orderly laid out, but this analysis synthesis are the critical points. You take the thing down and you reassemble it. And I see the parts down in the analysis, I don't see the proof of it, I see the negation here, and when it comes to the synthesis, I see tremendous failure. Tremendous failure in the synthesis. Now, once more, we're using the psychological philosophy applied to metaphysics. And we use the circle and point theories of the bunkai to avoid the constrictions of linearity and the limitations of sport karate. Can anybody repeat that? The whole goal of you in the martial arts is to have strong, consistent, internal standard, quantifiable, integrated, related. It uses the circle and points theory of bunkai and uses a psychological philosophy towards the metaphysics to avoid the constrictions of linearity and the limitations of sport karate. That's exactly what you're doing. And you have to understand that's the way we're going. That's the way the Wuko goes. That's the way everything goes. And if you think that this is a psychological philosophy applied to metaphysics, you have nothing, which is conjectural and subjective. Conjective and subjective. And that's the trouble with the referees. They have a terrible time with that. The psychological philosophy. But conjective and subjective. And they can't find their way around it. Because they don't understand the circle and point theories here and the interrelated ideas of the dimensional study. Now, if you could be a guy, for example, doing the kata, let me imagine a guy getting up here. He has strong, consistent, internal standard, quantifiable, integrated, related. Now, he's not going to do that. He's going to have a weak, inconsistent, externally derived standard. That means he's going to change every time depending upon who the referee is. If the referee says it was good, he's going to incorporate that. And he's not going to be able to quantify that because he doesn't know what in the world dawning is. Isn't that the biggest idea? You know? And it's not integrated because that technique only appears in this form every time these keyhole changes to every technique. It's not integrated and the techniques aren't related. One time we use a knife hand, another time a sword arm, one time we use a circle and point, another time we use linear attacks. What would you think? What do you think when you're grading somebody who has a weak, inconsistent internal standard? Unrelated, non-integrated, and you couldn't quantify it if you tried. You couldn't give the guy a score. Haven't you seen that? On the other hand, you want to be strong, consistent, internal standard, quantifiable, integrated, and related. You want to apply psychological philosophy to metaphysics. Right? You want to use the circle and point theories of bunkai to avoid the constrictions of linearity and the limitations of sport karate. That's what you're doing. And that's exactly it. And I gave you about 15 words. And if you can't memorize those 15 words, how in the world could you consider yourself an academic? I mean, you couldn't pass a physiology and anatomy class without 15 words. Isn't that right, doctor? And you know that I expect every one of you, us coaches, to write that down for me and give it to me from here. I will never approve anybody for coaching unless they remember 15 words. And if you can't remember 7, I wouldn't give you a black belt. Because I would consider you're one of those really happy people. You know how to be happy. Be dumb and have a bad memory. Now everybody, so we're in here a little bit, so let's go out and have a little bit of fun. And just break this down and talk about this. I'm going to carry this at some length, and we're going to do this. And I think that Mr. Abel and Mr. Hickey can get you outside for a few minutes, get your legs strengthened out a little bit. Is that right? Let's go right out on the grass and just shake your legs out and have them ready. Would you please take these blue mats outside? I will not train you. After you're trained, you can do sport karate, but don't expect to be trained by sport karate. It is not conclusive, it is not complete, it won't do the things that are necessary for you. Tomorrow I'll get into the idea of the random closures and analysis of matches. But right now, let's continue again with psychological philosophy and again with analysis. And let's go for the war in the inside room, okay? Please. So we're all grab your stuff, and would you grab my box